The last time Nike stock hit an all-time high was around November 1st, 2021, and ever since then, the stock has been struggling, to say the least. In this video, I'm going to talk about why the stock has been struggling and why I also think that Nike is still a buy here today at $91.75. I also do hold Nike stock, so my money is where my mouth is when I'm talking here, and I'll talk about if I plan on buying more as well. I'll probably go over my current position, so if you're interested or thinking about buying Nike stock, I'd recommend watching the whole video. I think you can get some value out of it. So let's get right into it. So if somehow you don't know what Nike is, this is just the homepage of their website, and they design, manufacture athletic footwear, apparel, equipment, and accessories worldwide. I'm assuming most people that are watching this video do know the brand, which is part of the reason that I actually think it's still a good buy. But some other notable brands that they own are Converse and Jordan, which are two pretty beast brands by themselves, separate from Nike. They also sponsor some of the biggest athletes and some of the biggest sports teams in the world, if not the biggest athletes in the world. So they're an incredibly well-established brand and just a really well-established company in the world of athletics. But let's start by talking about why the stock has struggled for the past few years. You know, it did have a high of around 170 around November 1st, 2021, and it is now sitting at $91 here today. So that's a pretty dramatic fall. You know, if you just bought the S&P 500 index funds like VOO or anything really, it would have outperformed this stock for the last couple of years. So what kind of led it down this path, and why has it been going down? So there's definitely been a few different contributing factors that has led to the downfall of Nike stock here. And one of the main ones is supply chain constraints. They've really been struggling to build out their supply chain. And, you know, a lot of people went shopping and a lot of stores sold out of Nike products over COVID. So then they started to pump their manufacturing, and then they had way too much inventory. And, you know, that happened to a lot of companies over COVID, but especially Nike being such a big company that it is. It was sitting on so much money and inventory, and it was struggling to ship it out and get it to stores in time and just clear that inventory. So that's been a main one. That's been one big factor or leading to why they've been struggling. And that's also led to revenue not being what it should be. You know, not only has the actual revenue numbers that come in not be what they should be, but the growth rate behind those revenues are also pretty low. You know, Nike's revenue for the first 6 months, fiscal 2024, grew only 1% year over year. You know, if you're a shareholder in a big company and you're really going to want that stock to have revenues grow more than 1% year over year, that is pretty brutal. And, you know, that's been what's really killed the stock in the last few months here is low revenue growth, low guidance. It's been, you know, their financials have not been incredibly stable and have not been stellar, to say the least. Like in this article, it says they only expect 1% full year revenue growth. And that's true because it's also what the analysts are saying on Yahoo Finance, I believe. 1.5% is what they're expected to grow as, which I think they definitely could beat. And we'll get into the reasons why I think they're going to beat that in a little bit later on in this video. And there's also been, you know, growing competition that have been really growing against Nike, like Lululemon. They've been running lots of branding campaigns and trying to grow their customer base and grow their revenues lately. They've also, you know, been struggling a little bit. I know they had a really big crash not too long ago. But there's been other athletic footwear brands that are coming out, like On. And, you know, how is Nike going to deal with that competition? And how are they going to be able to continue to grow their revenues and hopefully, you know, beat expectations with growing competition? With, you know, they're still dealing with those supply chain problems from COVID. Those, you know, COVID had a ripple effect on most businesses, and it really did hurt Nike a lot. So there's been, you know, many contributing factors that have led to the downfall of the stock in the last little while. And it's just, they haven't been performing from a financial and operational perspective as well as they should be for being as big and as, you know, global as a company like Nike is. You know, you kind of look at Nike and you think they should be perfect. It's Nike. They're at the top. They have a massive, massive customer base. And so when the foundation and the underlying business model under the name isn't performing well, that definitely really scares investors, not only retail investors, but Wall Street too. But I do think a day is, going to come here pretty soon when Wall Street flips and when big money starts to really flow back into this stock. And it definitely has underperformed the overall market here in the last few years. If we do a chart comparison of Nike stock with just the S&P 500, like obviously the COVID crash happened and then Nike shot up just like a lot of other businesses. When everybody was buying stocks, everybody was throwing stimulus money into the market and the Fed was printing. So, obviously it shot up more than the S&P, but then it crashed even harder when, we had that big crash right after the big run. And I did actually own Nike stock in here. I'm not exactly sure when I bought. I think I bought sometime in 2020 and then sold kind of near the highs, actually. And then I haven't started buying. I just started buying it again relatively recently, like a few months ago. But yeah, obviously it's definitely underperformed the S&P since, kind of late 2022. The S&P's been really going on a good run and Nike has just crashed. Ever since COVID and all those supply chain issues and revenue issues and guidance problems, it's really led the stock down. But as a whole, why do I think Nike is a stock to buy here today? And let's get into sort of my bullish thesis now that you kind of understand why it's gone down and some of the issues that they've been dealing with as a company. Let's start relatively broad here. And what are some of the first reasons that I'm bullish on Nike? And we can come to their description on Yahoo Finance here to find the first one. And obviously they say design, develop, market, sell athletic footwear, apparel, equipment, and services, but it's worldwide. It is an absolutely internationally household known brand name. Everybody knows what Nike is. You hear the word Nike or you see the logo and you think athletics, you think sports. The brand really does represent being active and, being the slogan of just do it. Everybody sees Nike. Everybody knows it. It's such a household name and the brand has so much presence that it has staying power, even compared to competitors, some of the newer athletic and athleisure wear and footwear companies that are coming up. Competing with Nike is going to be really hard because they're so well established in the industry. And, I personally also really like their products. I have some Nike shoes. I wear their clothes. I think they're really high quality compared to a lot of other businesses out there like Under Armour and Adidas. But I'm a runner and I'm an athlete, so, I've used their products, and when I compare them to a lot of other brands, I think they really do have some of the highest quality products. Nike also sponsors some of the biggest athletes in the world. Obviously, just to start with the first one, Michael Jordan. Obviously, they have a long-lasting partnership with Michael Jordan, and the whole Jordan brand is massive in the basketball world. Not much else to say about that. Michael Jordan, absolute legend. And that's just one. They're obviously a huge company in the NBA world. And this is another. This is probably the biggest athlete that they sponsor. I think Ronaldo is the most followed man in the world on Instagram, like close to 600 million followers or some stupid shit like that. And you search up a picture of Ronaldo or you see a picture of Ronaldo, you see highlights of him. He has the Nike logo on his jersey. And, it's such a smart move by Nike to have him as one of their sponsored athletes. Soccer or football, wherever you're from, is a fucking massive sport. And this is a really smart sponsorship by Nike. I can't imagine how much they're paying this man. I bet it's a lot, but I think it's worth it, and that definitely benefits the company. Serena Williams, massive athletes, Tiger Woods, LeBron James, just no other company has a presence that represents athletics like Nike. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea who this is, but Kevin Durant, you know, like I said, they have a really big presence in the basketball world. And not only that, but the Paris Olympics are coming up this year, and I think that's something that not a lot of people are thinking about. But you know, there's lots of teams and lots of athletes that are going to be sponsored by Nike. It gives Nike an opportunity to show off some of their new shoes, some of their new runners that they're you know, designing and manufacturing. So that really is a big sponsorship and advertising opportunity for a company like Nike, and that's coming up this year. And that is a really big reason why I think they could actually beat expectations of only 1-ish% revenue growth because of the Olympics. And, you know, if we don't even think about that, if we put all the branding and all the, you know, the marketing and the sponsorship and the voice behind the brand aside, and let's look at a couple of the financials, you know, they're still a massive company. $133 billion market cap, huge. They're still profitable. They have $3.4 earnings per share. And it also is a dividend company. You know, I'm not a huge fan of building a dividend portfolio, but I think this is also going to be, you know, I think you'll definitely get capital gains off buying this stock in the next few years anyway. So the dividend here, honestly, just a bonus. If we take a look at some of the statistics, what is a few here? So the forward PE is coming down. They still have around a 10% profit margin, so they're still profitable. Good revenue, $51 billion on their income statement for the trailing 12 months. You know, they have $10 billion cash, $12 billion debt. So a little bit more debt than cash, but they're still a growing business. You know, look at the revenue growth. You can literally see it year over year. If we go quarterly, I bet it's a little bit, you know, shaky to say the least, but you know, I don't think they're in that bad of a financial position. And I think with the Olympics coming up, I think with all the athletes that they sponsor and the brand staying power that I think they really have, and the fact that it's a household name, I think they're going to grow. And I think that growth is going to result in a stock price being higher than what it is today. You know, my outlook on this is, you know, 3 to 5 years. I probably plan on holding it for a minimum of 3 years. So I do think I'm going to build out my position. And that being said, let's actually take a look at what my current position is in Nike stock. Okay, so this is the dashboard of Questrade. Obviously today had a little bit up, you know, of 0.38%. So nothing crazy happened here today. But my current position, I currently own 26 Nike shares at a cost basis of $92.26. So I'm actually down on my position a whole $13 at the moment. I think it's inside the last 3 months here that I really started buying it, somewhere in April, I believe it was. But I do think I'm going to continue to build out the position and try to bring it honestly into one of my bigger positions in my portfolio. Right now, I think I have some of the biggest, probably my top 3 stocks are all really big tech companies. So it'd be good to get a little bit of diversification in the top positions in the account. I don't know exactly how many I'm going to buy or how many stocks I'm going to buy, but I would be comfortable buying at this price. Honestly, it would be nice to see it come down into the 80s, maybe high or mid 80s, and I'll still continue to buy. Honestly, if this thing keeps falling, I'll keep buying. It could go into the 70s, and I would be buying Nike stock for sure. I'm just honestly a real big believer in the brand and a believer in athletics and what Nike represents to everyone in the world. I believe a healthy lifestyle is really important. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about, you know, why the stock is going down in the last few years and why I'm still bullish. If you guys have any other stocks that you want to see me make a video about or do some analysis with, I might be making these videos for every stock in my portfolio over the next couple weeks, couple months here. You know, I am working 2 jobs at the moment, so I kind of just get to make a video whenever I find the time. But I do really enjoy it, and I do love investing, and I've been doing it for over 4 years. Like I said, if you have a specific stock you want to see me do an analysis with and create a video with, drop it in the comments below. Stay tuned for lots more stock content. I hope you guys all have a great day, and peace out.